preferably in a residential area.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are experiencing technical difficulties. Please stand by.
We hope you've enjoyed this journey through sounds.
Totally unplanned, but here we are. We're making art for the next little bit. I'm on a bit of a roll drawing not dragons for the moment, but if you're coming in, feel free to just suggest stuff. I'm just sketching, so there we are. And let's see if we can find a nicer tune, shall we? welcome to anyone who's jumped in. I'm just sketching tonight. Yeah, just sketches, and we've got the lovely overseas remix music in the background, which I'm probably just going to change all the time. It's on shuffle. It's just video game remixes, which is cool. But yeah, I'll probably skip a lot of songs until I find something cool. Good morning. Gosh, how early in the morning is it for you? Obviously, it's nearly 9 p.m. here in Australia. Also, if you're someone from Instagram, and I should know you and I don't because you have a different username on YouTube, just let me know. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's fair. That's a very long work shift. 8 to 3 in the morning. I used to stack shelves as a job at Oh yeah. Awesome, yeah. Well, I'm glad you could make it in. I know it's probably not the best time then if you've yeah. If it's morning and you went to bed at 3 or after 3 even. Yeah, till 4. My goodness. Does that mean you've seen the sunrise? I guess if it's summer in the northern hemisphere, then you probably did. You haven't slept yet. Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I'll probably be streaming for an hour if you need to go to bed. I totally understand. Yeah. I'm glad you can I'm glad you've made it in though. I know, I'm hoping I can stream at some point morning my time, so it'll probably be better, for anyone overseas like you are. Australia's just got one of those awkward time zones for, most of the rest of the world. Yeah, fully. Nah, thank you. Jumping in. I really am just sketching. It's been a rough week, so I'm just chilling out. Most of the sketches I've done so far tonight before I started streaming were actually just humans. So, my character, but not as a dragon. And then my other character, who is not a dragon, his name is Pyro. He's a fire person. He usually has wings, which is that one. All flying Pyro. I know, right? Yeah, Australia, super inconvenient. Many thank yous. I'm trying to get used to, if I'm streaming, actually speaking, which does not come naturally, I imagine, to almost anyone. So it's definitely a practice thing. It's also like, what on earth do you talk about half the time? So it's cool to have, someone chatty in the chat. Well, I mean, hopefully one day, when I get a little bit better, I'll be able to seamlessly talk through kind of what I'm doing on screen and kind of why. So if you draw as well, then, or even just out of interest, you can be like, that's that's how they work. That's how they approach art. I don't think I'm anywhere near that point yet. And I mean, half the time, this is pretty explanatory. I've tried to draw what I think is a skeleton underneath. I still have so much anatomy stuff to learn. You know, and back legs for whatever reason are just one of the, you know, like one of those things I just don't have down. But yeah, try and draw the skeleton wireframe, I suppose, underneath, and then kind of like roll from there, because it helps you get the shape and the yeah, it helps you get the shape and the, what's the word? What is the word? Proportions. And I mean, dragons are challenging, obviously, because there's so many ways you can chuck a wing, but like, you know, if you want wing muscles, I know some people chuck the wing here. I usually try and chuck them here, which means I'm looking at wrapping like the flight muscles kind of around and under the forearm. Kind of like that. Yeah. I mean, like all the Wings of Fire kind of art, that's all sort of your wings here, so it just wraps straight up and in. I mean, I personally don't like it, because I feel like there needs to be space for, you know, I guess the shoulder blade of the wing versus the shoulder blade of the actual arm. And then of course, like, where do the chest muscles connect? I'm almost looking at 2 sets. I don't know, yeah. So I prefer to chuck the wings back a bit. I mean, I've heard some people say it's better kind of back, because that's like the median weight of the dragons. So like, if they're flying, then how do I sketch what I mean? So if they're like flying, is this big enough? Probably not. So here's El Flying Dragoon. So if the wings were here, like on the front, I don't know, some people think it's a little bit like too forward balanced, basically, depending on who you're talking to. So if you chuck the wings more, like coming in the middle, like here, then where the wing sits on the body is a little bit more like balanced in terms of the weight. Like balanced in terms of the weight. Yeah. Yeah, right around the shoulder blade. Yeah, that's a good thing. I mean, one of the beautiful things about dragons is there's no like rules necessarily. It's kind of down to preference and I guess what universe or like world they're living in as to what makes sense. And also just aesthetic preference, I think, a little bit too. Yeah. They do flap their wings. I mean, in saying that, like, yeah, obviously, most dragons would. I think, like, I don't know, I think Pokemon's a good example, actually. Because, you know, like, the animation of, I mean, most anime series, I suppose, you know, they kind of just propel themselves by something. They're not really animated to flap. Which I suppose inspired the idea for me, like magic propelling the dragon just as much as actual flying does. But I think like if you turn that into animation, it can look weird. If that makes any sense. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, and I think like the bigger the dragon, if you try to animate the wings too quickly, then it starts to look weird because you've got this big creature that, because it's so large, you think it should move, like quite slowly and majestically, but realistically it's probably attempting to mimic a hummingbird to stay in the air. I don't know. Like, I think they did a good job with the Game of Thrones dragons, but then they don't obviously have, they're wyverns, so they looked majestic and heavy, but they didn't have any front legs to contend with. Yeah.
Looks like it's time to oil up.
Is it worth drawing this over better? Is it? Do we do it? We'll give it a go. I haven't seen it. I haven't seen a link come through. I don't know if YouTube chat lets you, but you can send it on Instagram and I'll check it out after. Definitely keen to look at it. Sweet. It's through. Many thank yous. Oh yeah? Well, I'm drawing my character, Tyra. She is, let me see. She's my main character, and I've had her around for like a decade in my brain. She's also this lovely, creepy looking drawing here. She is the Karakhanzi, which is, yeah, brainworm indeed. Karakhanzi, creature. You're really testing me here, trying to draw and remember about my character. This is good. This is good. This is exactly what I want to be able to do. So yeah, Karakhanzi. Basically, they can only ever be one at a time. And the reason is they're effectively the guardian of all worlds. So not quite the multiverse, because I guess in this story the multiverse or a multiverse sits within a world, and then there can be completely separate worlds to that. So it's quite literally infinite. But the Karakhanzi is this singular being that can travel between these worlds. So obviously in different stories, you've got characters who can travel between, like quote worlds or universes or, whatever. But the Karakhanzi goes above that. Even further than realms. I'm not quite sure the best. Obviously all of the terms have meanings anyway. But the Karakhanzi is designed as a character to go above that and kind of be the guardian. Yeah, but more than a planeswalker. The space between worlds is completely inhospitable. It's not like space. It's this is kind of the thing with my stories. It's going to be good to actually start writing it someday, so I can nut out this how to describe this stuff. But it's effectively like the concept of nothing, taken to kind of an extreme, except that it's also something. It's a wonderful little parallel concept. Parallel? What's the word? Paradoxical concept. Which is why I struggle to describe it. But the Karakhanzi is the only creature that can navigate that. So whenever they go between worlds, it's like a portal that they create. They don't kind of wink out. They sort of create this thing, and they take the essence of that kind of with them. So if you've just opened the door of a commercial freezer, and you know how the frosty air will come out, and maybe you'll see a bit of what you call it, steam fog, whatever. Kind of like that, and then anything in that area gets really brittle and just kind of freezes completely, where that portal was made. So that's kind of how the Karakhanzi travels between worlds. Yeah, and the idea of there only being one is because they are supposed to be that magnum opus creature, I suppose. To have multiple would upset the balance of effectively everything. So one of the challenges for me with Tyra is making her not OP. Yeah, like condensation, but think more like whatever it is freezes so completely, like a dry freeze. It goes completely brittle. So it's not quite within our laws of physics, but it's the same sort of idea. But yeah, the idea is there can't be more than one. So when the old one, I guess, like when it's time for the old one to kind of cease existing, so far, or at the moment, the idea is that they pass the mantle over, like a new one is sort of born in some fashion, and they train it as their life force fades. So there's never a double up of that power. And so yeah, they exist to keep balance across all of the worlds. So the Karakhanzi works in tandem with a force called necessity and a force called balance. Yeah, the scientific explanation is cool. At least in the case of the Karakhanzi, I'm going with just pure magic. With no ability to scientifically explain the creature's specific powers, really. And I think that kind of... I guess the idea is if they're traveling between literal universes and worlds, then the laws of magic are going to change in each and every one of them. So the Karakhanzi's magic is completely separate to that. Yeah. That's kind of why it's a challenge to make sure that this character's not literally ridiculous. Because they're supposed to be. That's their purpose for existence. But, you know, if we're writing a story about one, then, you know, that character cannot just roll in and kick butt every single time. Like a, you know, like a Mary Sue. But I think the idea is, like, the Karakhanzi, they don't like reach an old age and die. They sort of reach their purpose and then pass on the mantle. You know, and they obviously exist to counteract balance, but they are a force of good, so obviously their purpose is to ensure the balance stays, you know, neutral to good. Which means that obviously their antithesis, their enemy, is you know, bad or evil. And like malicious evil, not like some businessman made some crappy decisions, but like someone genuinely with malicious intent, I suppose. And that sort of force pervading worlds, and the Karakhanzi exists to rebalance that effectively. So always having to travel, always having to follow the voice of necessity as to where they're needed. And when things go out of balance, yeah, it's their job to get it back. Except Tyra exists where, I guess, the evil, which is normally just, you know, like a... Think of it like a... how would you call it? Like, normally the idea of good and evil is that they're just forces of nature, I suppose. But the idea with her is that in her time, the evil has effectively gained some intelligence, kind of out of nowhere. Maybe that's a plot hole, maybe it's just one of those things that doesn't need to be explained, it just happens. And so she's got a much harder path ahead of her, because she's actively working to save stuff rather than balance stuff, so she's working against a tide the whole time, while also having to gain her power, because this kind of kicks off before she comes into existence. But yeah, I guess that's the synopsis of who I'm drawing. Yeah, the interplanar space. So that's kind of where the nothing or the evil comes from. It builds up there and permeates different worlds. Yeah, I would love to actually write this out sometime. Obviously there's a few drawings and stuff I've done a few little short stories a while ago. But yeah, there's not that much that I've actually put down for Tyra and her story. It's all just in my head. Yeah, dramatic music. What's up next? How about this one? This is one of my favorite songs ever, actually. It's a beautiful Legend of Zelda, like, relaxing tune with just the most gorgeous marimba. You've absolutely nailed it. The Karakhanzi kind of came about because, you know, you could pop her in anything. You know, I think Harry Potter is the most basic example in the history of the world. But yeah, obviously if I write a story, I kind of need to come up with things that are completely my own. It's a beautiful song. It is. So pretty. Nice. Yes. So how do you pronounce it? Is it Oculus or Oculus? I'm Australian, so give me some slack here. I'll probably get it wrong. Oscillus. Cool. Yeah, I like that. That sounds nice. seal. Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I mean, Tyra is spelt T-I-R-A, which I realize a lot of people just pronounce as Tira. Obviously, because you're expecting, if it's Tyra, to be spelt T-Y-R-A. But it's always been T-I for me, and if I've spelt it that way for over 10 years, I am stubbornly not changing it. I like the look. Yeah, I like the look of Tyra. I don't like it with the Y. And it's just how I say it. And then Karakhanzi sort of... I haven't really settled on a specific pronunciation for that one. It's Karakhanzi, like, I'm not too fussed. It just sounds cool. But yeah, Tyra will always be Tyra with the long I. Not Tira. It just doesn't suit her. There we go. One dragon drawn over with a bit more detail. Cool. We'll give it some shading and then we'll draw something else. I've noticed tonight, it doesn't take too long just to add a little bit of like block shading underneath to kind of define what on earth is going on with just the line drawing. So we'll do that. One challenge I do have with Tyra, especially Dragon Tyra, is that she's supposed to be opal colored. Like specifically opal. You know, like white with these undertones and like glistening, like pale pastel sort of oranges and greens and blues. Like literally just like an opal catching the light, like a white opal. I have found that so hard to try and colour. Clubbed in the head next. Life imitates art. I can play some more relaxing music. Can't guarantee it's gonna help, but I can play it. Otherwise, if you've ever played Halo, this next song is a Halo remix, and you can imagine yourself being taken out by a banshee. That could work. Yeah, just shut off the phone. I know, it's all up to that personal agency, isn't it? It's sometimes not as easy to enact, though, as we would like. Yeah, me too. I think, I mean, what can I say? I used to make those decisions because I used to stack, I think I mentioned stack shelves at a supermarket, and it didn't go till 4. That's one thing I'm grateful for. But there were obviously quite a few nights where the work went overtime and you'd be there, you know, later than you intended to be. So I'd be working from like 3 p.m. through to 2 a.m. And you just wrecked the next day. And you go, why did I do it? Well, first of all, you kind of had to because you're at work and they needed it, but also hoping that the extra hours means you got paid the extra money, because that was usually the rationale that I had. Stay later, who needs sleep, get paid. Obviously Australia's got pretty decent employment laws, so that was okay. The fryer broke last night. No. Where do you work? I was just stacking shelves, so like, tins of tuna gotta go on that shelf. But that sounds like fast food outlet. No, the 15-year-old would not have been able to cope. No. Yeah, Macca's, okay. McDonald's, Macca's, yep. Pretty classic one here is the I assume it would be the same everywhere, to be honest, but the classic one in Australia is that the ice cream machine's broken at McDonald's. So like, you go through, you know, you've had a night out and you're swinging by Macca's on the way home, and you really just want a soft serve sundae, and you can't have it because their ice cream machine's mysteriously broken. Maybe they're cleaning it, but most of the time you get told it's broken, which is always quite rough. Oh, internship, cool. That's awesome. What kind of internship would that be? Not broke, just poorly engineered. Yeah, that too. If you are a person watching and you have a video game music request, I can see if it's in my library and see if I have a remix for that game. You're more than welcome. We've got Banjo-Kazooie up next. It's quite a fun one, but it will wake you back up. Oh, yeah. Oh, I hope you get the internship. That's really cool. And that will definitely catapult you away from McDonald's, that's for sure. Engineering is a really cool field. I can't do maths to save my life. I don't know where engineering includes a lot of maths. So yeah, I hope you get it. Hope you get to go and do really cool stuff. And obviously, like, yeah, keep gunning for it. Maths, I know, I cannot. You know, I play D&D, Dungeons and Dragons, and obviously you roll the dice, and I know, for me, adding up a couple of basic numbers takes me much longer than I think it should. I do not have a maths brain. I have a bit of an anti-maths brain. Not for lack of trying. I think I did try. It would take a lot of trying to get anywhere proficient with numbers. It's just one of those, like, you know, I look at the number and I have to look at it 5 times to be sure I've seen the right number. So mad respect to your calculus skills. Yeah, send me off to write something or like do a creative esoteric thing and I'm all good. But yeah, numbers I can't do. So ooh, Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I play D&D for the stories, so I've been really fortunate of the two DMs that I've had. They've both been really good, and the stories have been really fun. Yeah, the first one I played a Tabaxi dragon blood sorcerer. And obviously being a sorcerer is like, you use up your one good spell and you're out when you're lower levels. Playing a monk at the moment, an Owlin monk, and that's just so much different. I can actually strategize my moves a bit more because I actually have moves to play with. I know, the first D&D like campaign I was in, we had a monk and I was a sorcerer, and I was just so envious. I'm like, man, you're doing 4 or more attacks in a turn, and I've done 1, and if I roll bad, then that's it. Here's my 5 damage. But with a monk, it's like 1 hit, 2nd hit, extra attack, bonus attack. Because I'm one of the new monk classes, so I'm like a dragon ascendant monk, which means I also have like a breath attack, so I can replace one of my attacks with breathing an element, and it's just it's so much fun. It is so much fun. Yes, that's the one. It's too good. So well cultured. Oh yes, D&D is the thing. Highly recommend. You do have to get lucky, I think, with good players and, you know, a good like group. So like if you have a bad experience, like don't can it. Give another group of people a go. Right. Is she adequately shaded? I think she might be. Here we go. 1 Tyra. Shaded. Oh, Kenku monk. Cool. Oh, that is so good. I love that. Yeah, my Owlin came from like the snowy Alps, and they had a guardian crystal dragon, and that taught them that sort of thing. So there's kind of that's his backstory. I love it. All right, 1 more drawing done. Let's move on. Let's also change this song. I feel like something different. This one. Alright. What is next? Oh yes, Dragonborns are good. I haven't actually played one, weirdly enough, because a few DMs, I think if you're looking at lore, Dragonborns aren't supposed to have tails, and I take issue with that. So I haven't actually like played a Dragonborn. I've played a Tabaxi, and now I'm playing an Owlin, so human characters are just out for me. But yeah, the other races are all in. I wonder if I can even... Maybe we can like try and draw a Dragonborn monk. Let's give it a go. They should have tails. I know, why would... Yeah, exactly. But they don't. Depends on the DM you have. And I have unfortunately encountered DMs who were not willing to give me a tail. So I was like, fine, I'll pick a race that has a tail and then make them a dragon something. So my Tabaxi has scales and will eventually be able to summon dragon wings, which would be pretty friggin' sick. I know. humanoid things are very different to non-humanoid things. Let me think about this. Reference Bruce Lee. You know, that's not a bad idea. Hold up, hold up. Give me a second. We're gonna pull in our reference. Are we ready? Here he is. In all his glory. Alright. I mean, I'm tempted to just actually draw over him for fun. We'll make it a bit quicker. Here we go. Let's turn Bruce Lee into a Dragonborn monk, shall we? God, look at those hands. What is this? Hands continue to be a bane of every artist's existence, and I'm no exception. Oh my goodness. Alright. There we go. It's not cheating, I just want to get this quickly done, rather than sit here agonizing over how to draw a human. Alright. Okay. Goes down that way. It's actually quite cool. So you can just look at the shapes. Look at the fold in the... I know it's just it's even a statue. This is kind of meta. Give him a tail, I will mold. He will have a tail, don't you worry. We're not in camp no tail over here. So what have we got? There's some legs in there somewhere. Yeah. Some footsies. Got to give him the footsies. And then... yeah. What did they? 70% yeah. I'll have to play a Dragon Ball one day. Owlin was like a no-brainer when that came out. Like, man, I can be a seriously cool owl creature and fly, and have like, you know, 120-foot dark vision and just be completely baller. Who knew monks had such jazz hands? Here we go. This is a good exercise in where muscles go. Look at this. Oh, there's those muscles. See, I keep forgetting about that muscle. This one right here. Oh my goodness, alright. That'll be the hard part, so let's just get a rough shape down there, and we'll turn off old Bruce Lee in a second and go from there. That's probably about right. Here we go. It's a good start. Rightio. Now, can we anatomy ourselves out of this one? Now that we've just had easy mode for a few minutes. There we go. Start of a face. Let's give him some. Give him his feetsies. And his tail. We have not forgotten his tail. I'm just wondering, if you're standing like that, where's your tail going? Probably down here, to be honest. Sick. Alright. Now let's do a more detailed plane over of this fellow. Against the ground for balance. Oh yeah. That makes a bit more sense actually, doesn't it? I mean, it could be. Could be down here. Yeah. Cool. Alright. Alright. Gorgain the butt kicker. Fighting with style and for the good of the common folk. Be that lowly kobold or highest dragon, I like it. Good old Gorgain. Oh, no worries. Thanks for jumping in. It has been a good chat. I hope you get a good bit of sleep. A good bit of sleep in. And yeah, hopefully at some point I'll be able to do these at a better time. Morning for me, and not so ridiculously a midnight kind of morning for everyone else. It's definitely on the agenda. It's just about me figuring out and locking in a day of the week, really. Obviously I work, like many of us do, so working around that. Yeah, good morning and good sleeping. Rest up. And yeah, thanks for popping in. And now we're left with the challenge of turning Bruce Lee into a scaly dragon-born warrior. Oh, this is fun though. This is good. Pretty sure if I was just a random bad guy on the street and saw this coming at me, I would run away. How do we draw legs? Muscles. Yeah, it doesn't quite work, does it? I don't even know if that honestly will work. Maybe we'll ditch the claw. There we go. Ooh. Come along. He just needs a tail. Coolio. Oh yeah. And to the sound of a Christmas-themed Mario Jazz remix tune, we've finished the Dragonborn monk. Based off of Bruce Lee, of course. Who else? It's definitely a lot to be learned from grabbing a reference. Because I don't think he would look nearly that good if I had tried to draw that from my brain. Do 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 do. Do, 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 do. Amazing, truly, truly amazing. suppose, I reckon it might be time to call it a night. Oh, Gorgion, the Dragonborn monk, is drawn. He exists now. He's a thing. And that's pretty cool. And so are a bunch of other drawings which didn't exist a few hours ago. And that's awesome. So, yeah. How cool is art? When someone sits down with a blank thing, they come away with something that's not a blank thing anymore, and regardless of how that thing went, that's just really dang cool. And it feels good. It does feel good. Alright, Gorgion. We are ready for you to kick butt in the world. Cool. Well, thanks for watching. It's been really fun, and till next time, I'll catch you later. Bye bye.